Alabama set to execute inmate who dropped appeals and asked for death. Imagine a justice system where the condemned actively seek their own execution. This is the case of James Osgood, a man scheduled to be executed in Alabama for a heinous crime, a man who ultimately chose death over life in prison. Give a like and subscribe, leave a comment. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey has scheduled the execution of James Osgood for April 24, 2024. This date marks the culmination of a long and complex legal journey. It's a journey that began with a brutal crime and ended with Osgood himself requesting his own death. Osgood, 55, was convicted of the 2010 rape and murder of Tracy Lynn Brown. He requested to be put to death for his actions. This request adds a disturbing layer to an already tragic case. Osgood was found guilty of cutting Brown's throat after he and his girlfriend sexually assaulted her. The details of the crime are particularly disturbing. They paint a picture of calculated violence and utter disregard for human life. Tracy Lynn Brown was found dead in her home in October 2010. Her absence from work raised immediate concerns. This led to the discovery of a horrific scene. Brown's employer became concerned when she did not show up for work. This simple act of not showing up triggered a chain of events. These events ultimately revealed the brutal truth of what had happened to her. Osgood and his girlfriend sexually assaulted and attacked Brown in her own home. This violation of her personal space underscores the depravity of the crime. It highlights the complete lack of empathy displayed by the perpetrators. Osgood cut Brown's neck and stabbed her during the attack. The violence inflicted upon her was extreme and unnecessary. It speaks to a level of rage and cruelty that is difficult to comprehend. Brown begged them not to hurt her, according to court documents. Her pleas were ignored. This detail adds another layer of tragedy to the case. Osgood confessed to the crime, providing a chilling account of his actions. His confession offered a glimpse into the dark motivations behind the murder. It revealed a disturbing fantasy that had spiraled into reality. Osgood and his girlfriend had fantasized about kidnapping and torturing someone. This disturbing revelation sheds light on the premeditated nature of the crime. It suggests a deep-seated desire to inflict pain and suffering. Osgood was initially sentenced to death in 2014. This sentence reflected the severity of the crime. It was a statement by the justice system that such acts would not be tolerated. The initial death sentence was overturned due to improper jury instructions. This highlights the importance of due process. It shows that even in cases of heinous crimes, the legal system must adhere to strict standards. During resentencing in 2018, Osgood requested the death penalty. This unexpected request shocked many. It raised questions about his mental state and his understanding of the consequences. Osgood cited his belief in an eye for an eye. This statement reveals a desire for retribution. It suggests a belief that the only way to atone for his crime was to face the same fate as his victim. Osgood renewed his appeals after his sentencing until dropping them this summer. This period of legal maneuvering suggests a degree of ambivalence. It raises questions about the sincerity of his desire for execution. Osgood dropped his appeals this past summer, stating he was tired and wanted to complete his sentence. This statement suggests a sense of resignation. It implies that he had grown weary of fighting the legal system. Osgood wrote a letter to his attorney last July expressing his gratitude. This seemingly simple act reveals a complex relationship. It shows a human connection even in the face of unspeakable acts. Osgood thanked his attorney for her work on his case. This gesture of appreciation adds a layer of complexity to his character. It challenges the simple narrative of a remorseless killer. The Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals upheld the death sentence imposed by a Chilton County judge in 2018. This decision affirmed the validity of the sentence. It reinforced the legal system's commitment to justice for Tracy Lynn Brown. The court rejected Osgood's claim that his waiver had not been knowing and intelligent. This ruling addressed concerns about his mental capacity. It confirmed that he understood the consequences of his actions. Osgood argued that his jury waiver had not been voluntary. He claimed he was pressured into waiving his right to a jury trial. The court rejected this argument. Osgood argued that the district attorney and trial court repeatedly misrepresented the jury's role as a mere recommender of sentence. He believed this misrepresentation influenced his decision to waive his right to a jury. The court disagreed. Osgood argued that the court had made it impossible to impanel an impartial jury. He claimed the extensive media coverage of the case prejudiced potential jurors. The court found this argument unpersuasive. Osgood argued that the prosecution showed potential jurors a prejudicial crime scene photograph of the victim. He believed this photograph unfairly influenced the jury pool. The court rejected this claim. Osgood argued that the defense was denied a continuance it needed to adequately prepare for trial. He claimed this denial hampered his ability to present a proper defense. The court disagreed. Osgood argued that a mistrial was denied after the district attorney told prospective jurors that Osgood had been sentenced to death at his previous trial. He believed this statement prejudiced the jury pool. The court rejected this argument. Osgood had a difficult childhood, marked by trauma and instability. This background raises questions about the role of environment in shaping his behavior. It prompts consideration of the mitigating factors that may have contributed to his actions. Osgood experienced sexual abuse and abandonment, leaving deep scars. These experiences likely had a profound impact on his mental and emotional development. They may have contributed to his later violent tendencies. Osgood attempted suicide, indicating a history of mental health struggles. This attempt suggests a deep sense of despair and hopelessness. It raises questions about the adequacy of mental health care he received. Osgood's brain development was potentially hindered due to malnutrition as an infant. This potential neurological damage could have affected his impulse control and decision-making abilities. It adds another layer of complexity to the case. Osgood was admitted to a psychiatric hospital as a teenager, further highlighting his mental health issues. This admission suggests a long-standing struggle with mental illness. It raises questions about the effectiveness of his treatment. Osgood's girlfriend received a life sentence after pleading guilty. This disparity in sentencing raises questions about the relative culpability of the two individuals. It highlights the complexities of the legal system and the factors that influence sentencing decisions. Governor Ivey's decision to proceed with the execution comes after she granted clemency to Robin "Rocky" Myers. This previous act of clemency adds another layer of complexity to the case. It raises questions about the criteria used to grant clemency and the consistency of the governor's decisions. Ivey granted clemency to Myers due to questions about his guilt. This decision suggests a willingness to consider doubts about a defendant's culpability. It raises the question of whether similar doubts exist in Osgood's case. Ivey has no current plans to grant clemency to Osgood. This statement indicates a firm resolve to proceed with the execution. It suggests that the governor believes Osgood is fully responsible for his actions. Ivey retains the right to grant a reprieve or commutation up until the moment of his execution. This final act of discretion underscores the gravity of the situation. It highlights the immense power held by the governor in capital punishment cases. This case presents a complex tapestry of crime, legal maneuvering, and personal tragedy. It forces us to confront difficult questions about justice, retribution, and the role of mitigating factors in capital punishment cases. What does it mean when a condemned man asks for his own execution? What responsibility does the state have to ensure that such a request is truly voluntary and informed? These are questions that demand careful consideration. We encourage you to delve deeper into this case, to research the details of the crime, the legal proceedings, and the backgrounds of both the victim and the perpetrator. Share this video to spark conversation and raise awareness about the complexities of capital punishment. Support organizations that advocate for victims' rights and work to reform the criminal justice system. Your voice matters in shaping a more just and equitable society.